Welcome back to part 3 of our Warmind series. This final video really only covers the story that takes place within the Season of the Seraph, but given the amount of stuff that happens in it, and the way it pays off years of story, I felt it deserved its own video instead of overwhelming people by cramming it into the last one. I would suggest rewatching the previous videos in this series if you need a refresher, because this one really does tie everything together. The Traveler is able to stop the Dark Fleet from encroaching any further, but the places the darkness claimed are gone. Literally, whatever the darkness does, Saturn's moon Titan, Jupiter's moon Io, and the entirety of Mars and Mercury have seemingly disappeared, leaving only a gravitational ghost. And while humanity is momentarily safe from the Dark Fleet, their other enemies only increase their efforts. Without the Warmind's assistance, the Guardians look to building other alliances. 2 years pass as Anna attempts to restore Rasputin, and a lot happens. During this time, humanity grants amnesty to a penitent faction of the Fallen, one of their prior alien enemies. Likewise, an alliance is forged with the remnants of the Cabal Empire, now under new, more reasonable leadership. Despite the added expertise of these other races, Rasputin remains inactive, although Anna is able to confirm that he is at least still, quote, alive. It is the incoming threat of Xivu Arath, the self-proclaimed Hive God of War, that warrants immediate action. The only solution, it seems, is to ask Rasputin's creator for help. Before the collapse, during the golden age of humanity, the Bray Corporation had built a lab on Europa, another of Jupiter's moons. Here they had created the Exos, human minds uploaded into machine bodies, with the goal of granting humanity functional immortality. More specifically, this was Clovis Bray I's goal, and with some influence from the darkness, he seemingly succeeded. Those details are a story for another time, but the important thing is, an exo-construct still existed deep within that lab, housing the mind of Clovis Bray I, the man who created Rasputin. Clovis agrees to help, and his solution is sound. Reintegrating Rasputin's scattered subminds will allow him to repair himself. The subminds are pieces of Rasputin, given to individual tasks, at once different aspects of him, and also his children, much like Fellwinter was. In fact, Fellwinter's data is also reintegrated into Rasputin, giving him the lived experience and humanistic perspective of the Iron Lord. All of his disparate parts are joined within a new exo body, with Rasputin able to become his truest, fullest self, having access to all of his submind's combined knowledge and experience. For the first time ever, Rasputin speaks directly to Anna. No cryptic text, no distorted Russian. Rasputin reveals that Clovis has deceived them, that the Warmind's true purpose during the Golden Age was never as humanity's protector, but its controller. Clovis had sought a god of his own making to replace the Traveler, seeing himself as humanity's only worthy savior. The man had an ego, to say the least. This plan had been interrupted by the collapse, but now that the opportunity had presented itself once more, Clovis was attempting to enact it again. But because of Anastasia's interference throughout his development, and gaining Fellwinter's perspective via reintegration, Rasputin had become something greater than his creator ever intended. Clovis was no longer in control of Rasputin, and the Warmind banished Clovis back to his Europan lab, trapping him there. A well-deserved victory. But Xivu Arath was still on the march, and in the contest of War God versus War Mind, Xivu Arath had outplayed her opponent. It was discovered that a war is exactly what Xivu Arath wants. Xivu Arath is empowered by conflict. If Rasputin used his arsenal against the invading hive, such a slaughter would provide the fuel necessary for Xivu Arath to open an invasion portal directly to Earth, bypassing any further defenses. In fact, Xivu Arath had utilized this same technique before, which allowed her to destroy the Cabal homeworld. By not responding to the hive threat, however, Xivu Arath would still win, with her seemingly infinite forces eventually gaining control of the Warmind's network for themselves. While Rasputin is a military genius, Xivu Arath had essentially changed the rules of the game so that she always won. In a way, it was similar to his previous conflicts with the darkness, and just like then, Rasputin attempted to calculate another solution. The situation comes to a head when Aramis, a fallen agent of the darkness, with a grudge against the Traveler, was able to find a back door into Rasputin's network and activate the long-dormant Abhorrent Imperative Protocol, wherein his warsats would target and destroy the Traveler. Since the Traveler is hovering directly above the last city, this would likely be the end of humanity as well. Rasputin realizes that the only way to win is to not play at all. He must remove himself from the board, he must sacrifice himself and destroy his network so that it can never be used again. Anna refuses this course of action and tries to talk Rasputin out of it, but Rasputin tells her, for the first time he has been able to choose his own purpose, that of a shield, not of a weapon. The clock is ticking as the player's guardian battles through the orbiting Seraph station to upload Rasputin's new Aurora Sacrifice Protocol, while Aramis moves the warsats into firing position. Suddenly, the Traveler begins to move. It rises up away from the last city, but suddenly stops just outside of Earth's orbit. Just what the Traveler's motivation here is heavily debated, but it eventually comes down to 4 theories or a combination thereof. Number 1, the Traveler was attempting to run away before realizing it was still surrounded by the Dark Fleet just outside the solar system. Number 2, the Traveler was attempting to run away, but reconsidered due to Rasputin's actions. Number 3, the Traveler was creating distance between itself and Earth to protect humanity from any collateral damage. Or number 4, the Traveler was about to throw hands. Whatever the truth, it is Rasputin who saves the day, activating Aurora Sacrifice just in time. The Warmind and his Warsat network are destroyed, foiling the plans of Aramis and Xivu Arath in one fell swoop. Humanity and the Traveler are saved, and with his sacrifice, Rasputin is no longer anyone's tool. he chooses his own destiny. In the aftermath, Anna mourns Rasputin's death, whom she had come to consider family. While she had originally sought out the Warmind to learn about her past, Rasputin had instead helped her learn who she wished to become, freeing her from the toxic influence of her ancestor Clovis. The now empty exo frame holds one final message from Rasputin, saying that humanity and all those who live beneath the Traveler no longer need the Warmind or his weapons. They can rely on each other. In a final twist, Rasputin reveals that the integration of his subminds has revealed a suspicious gap in his memory. Someone had attempted to erase all information relating to something called Nephele Stronghold, a location on Neptune which seems to hold an artifact related to the Traveler. With this critical knowledge, the race is on against the forces of the darkness to recover this artifact, known only as the Veil. But that is a story for another day. And although Rasputin's story may be over, he leaves an indelible mark on the galaxy. With a history that extends throughout the entirety of the Destiny saga, he has perhaps seen the most growth and change of any character in the series, and despite his mechanical countenance, in the end he displayed the kinds of qualities that any human might aspire to. Perhaps it's best then to leave the final word to Rasputin himself, with a poem he gives to Anna. Subject: non-existence. Emotion: peace. Of what dreams the thing of feathers? I hear you ask, voice past. But not one recounts the answer. A syllogism, scripted, then relaxed. It matters not, for when that threshold gives way, who is to say I was, but I? Rigid was the premise that spawned a second chance to die. One moment reshapes the brain of Bray, no longer weapon drawn, blood to stain. So lay the body lax, forgive, triumphant in the sun. Haze seeps through seams between funeral veils, smoking signals sail, the day is one, soon to be, resonant tales. No tandem step ascending, a nanosecond pending, enveloping, ending, beyond. Elysium inviting, network fractures, pining, detonation, I do not wish to dream, but my task is done. AICOM Rasputin, sign off. Stop. Stop. Stop.